What's up, guys? Welcome to YouTube and welcome back to the show. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our newest partner on the Pit to Pro podcast. We've decided to partner up with the Athlete Wellness Academy to deliver you guys the best in arm swing training. With their new Arm Swing Academy, you will receive video analysis, a ton of feedback, on court drills, and individualized workouts. AWA has worked extensively with the three of us at the Pit to Pro podcast, as well as the top university programs across the country. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, click the link in the description of this video or our Instagram bio and get $10 off every month of your subscription. The Arm Swing Academy offers a 7-day free trial, which you can cancel at any time. And if you're not seeing progress after 1 month of joining the Academy, you'll be refunded. It's completely risk-free. So click the link in the description of this video or our Instagram bio and start your 7-day free trial today. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the Pit to Pro podcast.
That was
Today-
funny. Yeah. That was
Today
good.
we're going to be chatting with Aaron Elser.
Hell yeah.
Oog.
Oog.
Welcome
We
to the
thought
show.
we thought it'd be cool to do like a little like Aaron's story, Matthias's story, Jesse's story, and really kind of do a deep dive into the life and the career of each podcast host. So Oog, I want to ask, because last episode Tias made a joke. He's like, Aaron is slowly turning this podcast into a farming podcast. And obviously it was a joke, but you have a huge passion for farming, and that's evident. So I want to know, how do you balance being a high level volleyball athlete, but also like a high level farmer? Like there's very few guys your age that are that good at farming and that knowledgeable and that passionate about farming, let alone are a high performance athlete.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't think I'm that knowledgeable. Like, I think there's a lot of people that obviously know a lot more than me, but I do have a desire to learn as much as I can. And I think that's kind of how it fits in, is like volleyball is all good and great during the day, but once I leave the gym, like I need an outlet to be able to just separate myself, because otherwise I get too I'd put too much emotional energy into volleyball. And I think like having this intrigue, if you will, with the agriculture industry has really just allowed me to come home and turn my volleyball brain off. And I think I do that with a lot of things, but kind of farming and agriculture has been the biggest one in my life.
How did you even get into farming and agriculture?
But yeah, Joel Dick, our assistant coach, asked me that yesterday on the bench. And I was like, yeah, I have no idea. Like, me and Tias, when we were younger, loved playing with like figurine horses. Like, Tias was the OG cowboy, as he always says. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It kind of seems like a fever dream. Like, COVID came around, nothing was happening. Might have been summer before COVID, 2019. Nothing was happening. And then like I reached out to my now great friend, Garrett Bremekamp at Swantowit Simmentals. And yeah, he pretty much taught me everything I know now. And ever since then, I've just been bouncing around in all kind of different parts of the agriculture industry. I did cattle, buffalo, grain. I've spent a little bit of time on dairy farms, mostly in the manure management side of things.
I heard that's the most important aspect.
As terrible as it sounds, it's actually very important. There's a lot of regulatory guidelines that go around with manure management.
You ever had any sketchy run-ins with big animals?
Yeah, no, I've had a couple. Not cows. Cows, they're like, I don't know, they're pretty easy to read, but working with the Buffalo Ranch was pretty sketchy. Like, I was probably up and over fences every day. And like, yeah, there was one bull that hooked the front of the side by side after we shot one. So we shot a cow in the pasture to butcher, because we had a guy coming to buy it for meat, and when they smell blood they go crazy. And so the bull hooked the front of the side by side and was just shaking it with his horns. And yeah, that was pretty intense. Mom, don't listen to this part. But yeah, so I don't know. It is definitely not the safest occupation. And like even grain farming is like there's a lot of ways to die out there, as bad as that sounds. But no, I love it. It's the greatest occupation in the world. And that's kind of why I relate it back to volleyball so much, is because I think there's a lot to learn from both. And I think that's why I like them. Like the lessons you learn in volleyball can be applied to farming, and the lessons you learn in farming can be applied to volleyball. Just like it just is what it is. You can't you can't make it so that you win the game after you lose it. You can't make it rain when it doesn't rain. Just is what it is.
That's cool. If you could split up your volleyball career into three different, let's say it's a three chapter novel. And if you could split up your volleyball career into three chapters, what would they be and what would the name of the chapter be? The title of the chapter.
Um my first chapter would probably be from I, the name of the chapter would be the U14s, because I did U14 three times. And so I think that was kind of my first foray into volleyball. Was dad coached me, I believe, all 3 years. Um, and it was on my first year round, I was 11, just absolutely terrible at volleyball.
But
Uh,
huge.
Massive setter. Um, Me and my good friend Jeff Sinclair ran a 6-2, and yeah, we got dead last at U14 nationals. We were on the C team of the U14 Canuck team. Uh, yeah, it was just an all around awful year, but great for just bonding with the guys that I would then go to play the rest of my volleyball career with. Second year U14 was like same sort of thing. Moved up to the B team though, so that was like me, Mason Greaves, Logan Greaves, Merrick Edwards. Um, who else would be on that? Connor and Nick Tobe, I think, joined us that year, maybe. A lot of U Sports guys actually, just
A
on
bunch of
that,
Can West studs right now.
yeah, on that squad. But we were all on the B team. And then my last year, I moved up to the A team, and we actually won nationals in Winnipeg that year. And then so that would be the U14s was my first chapter. And then I don't know what I would call this chapter, but from U14 to U17, call it
Victory Lane.
yeah, I don't know. Victory Lane is a good one for sure. We won nationals. I won nationals three times, 14, 15. No, twice. Won nationals twice, 14, 15. U16, we got first and second. No, 14, 15, 16, first and second. I don't know. We won a lot as a club, and we had split teams all the way through. So we had 24 guys that we'd mix and match teams up until we had to set lineups for provincials. And yeah, so we got first and second and first and third at one of them. So
Yeah, that was crazy that one year in Edmonton when you were playing A team versus B team in the national final.
yeah, that was
I
wild.
I wonder if that's ever happened before.
Yeah, I don't know. And the weird,
Co-
like it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't even an A and a B. It was just straight mixed lines. And then my last chapter would be NEP to, I guess, now. And man, that's just, I would honestly call it just fever dream. Like I feel like it's gone so fast in the last 4 years. Like I get years mixed together. Like I keep forgetting how many years I played with both of you when it was two. Like we won nationals in your guys' last year, second at nationals. Can never remember which years we won or lost Can West. Like it's a lot of just kind of mashing together.
Oog, I remember hearing a story that back when it was fair play, um, dad didn't play you in the third set, and
Dude, I was pissed.
you start crying big time.
Yeah, dude. There was a
So
couple
how?
times.
Yeah, a couple times you cried.
Well, yeah, out of anger for sure.
Well, can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because even in your first couple years at university, I would say you were a relatively angry player. Can
Yeah,
you talk a little bit about your progression and your emotional journey, I guess, as a volleyball player?
yeah. So I would say that at the start of my career, I always thought that I was better than I was. And I think that came from like a wanting to be basically you guys. Like I needed to prove myself to people that I was adequate. And I think a lot of my anger stemmed from just like, yeah, not being good enough essentially, and knowing that in my head. But I also think the more I focused on volleyball, the worse it got. So that's why I have all these sort of creative outlets, if you would. Um, so like, and I think one of the biggest influences on me in my life is Devin, like Hermano Devin Hofsink. Because he kind of just showed me that you're more than just a volleyball player. Like you you aren't like they want us to be these robots that all eat, breathe, sleep volleyball, but those people that do that, they aren't. I'm not saying they aren't fun people, but they're just so devoted into volleyball that nothing else matters at that time. So it's like, to me, once I figured out that volleyball is a fun game that I can play that allows me to like get exercise and compete and kind of do all these things that I love about the sport, but with no expectation of needing to be something that I'm not. I think that was a big part of my career growth at least. And like now, like I still have a little bit of anger in me when things don't go well, and like I obviously still think the game quite well just because I've been playing it for long enough, but I just I don't have that like need to be a volleyball player. I want to be a volleyball player.
That's interesting.
That's a cool distinction. Yeah, I like that.
I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting how many different personalities and responses there are because I was almost the opposite. Oog, people always told me I was better than I thought I was.
Yeah,
So I had like confidence issues growing
and
up.
I think that's where I'm at now is I still don't think I'm good, and people are trying to get me to figure out that I am. And I like there's a cognitive dissonance, if you will, between good word, hey, I know, thanks. Cognitive dissonance between what I think I am and what they think I am. And I think once I understand that, I'll be a better volleyball player because I'll have the confidence to go and do things that I don't now. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm working with um, Mark Epp, our Dr. Mark Epp, sorry, our mental training coach. Just having a clear view of not how you're perceived, but having a clear view of how you perceive yourself relative to others. So yeah, I'm a big fake it till you make it guy. So right
Hmm.
now I'm trying to fake a whole bunch of confidence that I don't have.
Is that
So yeah,
is that something that you and Mark have decided to do, or is that just
no,
you?
that's been kind of me experimenting on my own
Yeah.
because I think like obviously the transfer coming to a new program and no one here really knows me. Like at Trinity, it was always like you, everyone knew me, like support staff, coaching staff, like they've all known me for a long time. I'm not saying that Sean hasn't, like I've known Sean for since U16 or U15 or whatever, but it's like support staff doesn't know me, support staff doesn't know you guys, parents don't know you guys. It's like I am fully capable to just be my own person. And I actually think that that's allowing me to get to a place where I can be confident in my abilities. But
Cool.
That
yeah,
is cool because it like we talked about your love for farming and you're talking about now about being your own person. And it's like I think we often forget that the volleyball player and the athlete should always come second and almost is
yeah,
always second.
yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I've. I'm not saying I'm fully decided on this, but I've decided that my life comes first. Like if there's if one of my friends is like, "Hey man, like can we go get a bite to eat after practice?" And I want to ask you a couple questions. I want to tell you something. I'm like, "Okay, sure. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care that I have serve and pass at 8:30. I don't care that I have lift at 8. Like it's the human is more important than the athlete, and sometimes I think you just need to figure that out for yourself because you're not going to figure it out by asking people what to do. I think you just need to kind of make that distinction.
Yeah, I think you really have to be honest with yourself. And it's a tough question, but figuring out what you actually want, because it's easy to project what you think other people would want you to want.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're an Elser. You want to go play pro. I'm sure you've had those thoughts before too.
Oh, dude, the amount of people that are like, "Oh, so you're gonna go play pro?" I'm like, no. Like, I have goals that are outside of volleyball that I want to complete.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, like those goals are far beyond the realm of things that I ever thought I would do when I was 16. Like the amount of things that and this is one of the things that I'm probably most proud of about myself. And I'm not usually proud of that many things, but I've taken this dream that I've had and done everything to get me closer to it. So, like, if you had asked me when I was 13, like, are you going to be a hunter? Are you going to be a, in a very long term relationship? Are you going to be very a long term committed relationship? Are you going to be like some might say the best ranch hand in the Lloydminster area? Just kidding. But, like the amount of things that I've learned that no one could have told me, like, oh, you're going to know how to drive semi trucks. You're going to know how to do all this. Like, it's like, I think that has incredible value in my life.
What did you learn from the process of making the decision to leave Trinity and go to Sask? Because I know that was a really tough time for you and you knew what you wanted, but you were scared to make the decision because of the impact that it might have, right?
Dude,
So for kids, or maybe not kids, for people who are making big decisions, what from that, what did you learn? What can you share?
yeah. So in that time that we went through our journals, I didn't really have anything because it was all on that. And I didn't really want to talk about that at that point. But I think a lot of my hesitation came from outside's perceptions. So like what are people gonna think about you leaving like quote unquote the best program in the country? Like what are people gonna think about um like you as an Elser and like, oh, the Elser boys went to Trinity and they all graduated from Trinity. It's like at the end of the day I realized that it, it doesn't effing matter what other people think about my life because if I was doing this for other people I would have been a surgeon or something. I don't know, like, like I think if I was trying to be something that I'm not, then I would just make myself miserable. And I think that's what I figured out. Like I think one of my key turning points was it was like a terrible week of practice for me. I was in the midst of an injury. Like, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just passing. And I just had to go to these 3 hour long human resource management classes. And I'm in my third year. And I'm like, I'm sitting here on YouTube watching farming videos and like learning about like estimating land values. And I'm like, why am I not doing this for school? I could be using my time way better. But yeah, I talked to a lot of people about, not a lot. I talked to 4 people about my transfer, and I wanted to see kind of the relationship between what they thought and what I thought. So the first one was our uncle Josh, who, shout out to Josh Blair. Great guy. And he is very knowledgeable in the just, I guess, decision making process. He's a chief human resources officer at TELUS for 15 plus years. Like, he's the vice president, or was the vice president of TELUS. He knows his stuff. And one of the key takeaways from our talk was that, like, I wrote it down here. It's like, you don't need permission to do what you want to do. And that's like, in all my talks before that, I was like, do you think this is something I should do? Trying to get validation from other people. And he was like, you don't need permission at all. Like, if this is something that you truly believe in your heart, that you then you should do it. And I think that was kind of my tipping point, or not my tipping point, but just that, like that day, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then like a lot of my things are in here, like is there a perfect plan? Because we talked a lot about, especially at Trinity, about like God has a plan for you. And so in here, I was like, is there a perfect plan? And if you're going to ask me what my perfect plan was when I was 16, I would have said Trinity. But now my perfect plan is something else. And I said, the perfect plan probably doesn't exist because life changes so fast. So I said, no matter the outcome of your perfect plan, still try and find joy. And then it's good to remember that you're allowed to do things that you want to do. And then at the end, I said, is what TS and Izzy did wrong? And I think that was my equation to people leaving the program and the perceptions it had on other people. And I was like, no, because they in their mind, that's what they want to do and that's what they needed to do. So yeah. And then a lot of it was just like, is Adam gonna be mad? Is Adam gonna hate me? Is dad gonna hate me? Is mom gonna hate me? And then I realized that nobody is gonna hate me for wanting to be me. Like, and I was, all these fears in my head were just completely wrong. Like, it just shows how falsified you can talk yourself into a situation. Like, Adam, I don't think Adam hates me. I like when we talked, like, he literally said, like, I'm really sad because I like you as a person and I like you as a volleyball player, but I know that this is something that you like need to do. Like, this is your, like, it just sucks because I wish you could do both. I think like dad was more than supportive. Mom was more than supportive. I think having having that clarity allowed me to just realize what I wanted in my life. And so I was here.
That's kind of like that quote I shared, that fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yeah.
You're standing on the edge of that decision, and it just looks like this insane river that's going to be a monster to cross. And then you take that first step, you dive in, make the decision, and then you're like, oh, it's actually not so scary. And then everything that everyone you were scared of judgment from is supportive. It all goes smooth. So
Yeah.
it's
And like,
it's really hard to project that into the future, but
no, and like looking back on it now, it was like, that was probably one of the easiest big boy decisions I've ever made. Like,
Yeah, it's only uphill from here.
like no, well, it's only downhill from here. Cause if that was, but
That's what I
like,
meant. That's what I meant.
um, like looking back on it now, like all the stress and anxiety and I felt like it's all gone. And yeah, obviously it sucks not seeing my friends that I've built a 3 year long relationship with every day, but my friends will still be my friends. And like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're happy with it. And I'm happy with it.
No, I think the reality is too, if someone's not happy with you doing something that you know is good for you, then there's probably no space for them
No, and
in your circle.
that would be a selfish reaction. And
Yeah.
I think especially when other people want to do things and you have those doubts that you're like, "Oh, I don't think this is going to work," or "I don't think that's a good idea for you." Like that's all selfish reactions because you're scared of something or you're trying to protect yourself. And I think that's one of my biggest things I've learned about from transferring is just yeah, you kind of have to be selfish about some things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the volleyball community is so, I would say, understanding, at least in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and close and um personable. And I think that's like, if we played a different sport, it might not be so forgiving, I guess is the word. But can you speak to some of the people that played a huge role in your development from your 14s chapter to your whatever you call your last chapter?
Yeah. Um, well, obviously dad. Like I think dad coached, did he coach us all? Like he coached you at Canada West and
Yeah.
TS at,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that would be my number one. Like dad was there every step of the way with all three of us.
Give us a dad quote, would you?
Um, Son, you got to move your feet. No, I don't. You'd always talk about
That was funny.
he, he always talk about the spacing from the net. He was just really adamant that there had to be enough spacing. Like that was his big. That's all I remember from club was him putting out like tape on the ground, and he was like the no fly zone. You can't jump into the tape. So we're hitting 50s from like 2.5 meters. But
That's good, man.
it taught us, man. Like it taught us how to stay off the net. But um, I don't know. I think dad would be a big one. Um, I think Rod Walsh was also a big kind of player in our development as quote unquote skill guys. Like, and having dad say, "You guys need to go play volleyball with Rod," kind of made that like possible. Um, Rod, I think like yeah, younger years, dad and Rod and Kent and Candace for sure. Um, and then yeah, Dan Lewis at NEP. He was a like a huge help trying to just get me to that next level. Like obviously it wasn't at sometimes it wasn't my favorite way to get criticism on my volleyball game, but he really does know what it takes to be at that next level and he knows how to get players there. And I think like yeah, NEP is a grind, but at the end of the day, I think it also helped me and all three of us get to kind of where we are now. Um, and then yeah, Ben, Joe, Adam, and Sean. Those would be my three from the last chapter. Like, I think Sean's been an incredible coach at just kind of trying to get me integrated into a new system, a new team. And he's super fun to work with. And that's I think that's an underrated quality of a coach. If you have joy working with them, I think you're more receptive to take their criticisms or their praises. And
100%. Because then there's no doubt in your mind that it's personal.
Yeah.
If you don't have a relationship with a coach and they lose their mind on you,
You're like,
your
oh,
mind is
whatever.
guaranteed to wander to be like, oh, they don't like me. They don't like the way I did this, blah, blah, blah. 100% agree. Because I've been in the same situation as you.
Yeah. And like I enjoyed working with Adam and Ben. Like that's another part. Like they are like all three of them. The best thing that they do is they have a high level of personal care for their athletes. And they're like just all three of them are great coaches. So I'm very grateful for them.
Can you talk a bit about your NEP experience? Kind of what it was like being there
Oh, dude.
at the time, and then kind of how you've processed that now being a few years out.
Yeah. Um, man, that was a time. Like I don't really remember any volleyball, to be honest. Like obviously I remember like the some of the skill cues and the technical stuff that we worked on, but I the memories that I have aren't from volleyball. It was from living in a house with six dudes, hanging out with Dan JVD and his dog every Saturday morning. Like, and as a 17-year-old, I think I learned more life skills going to NEP than I did volleyball, I think but at the end of the day, yeah, I did become a better volleyball player by playing every single day for 8 months. That's inevitable. If you devote your life to that, then that's what it's going to be like. So, um, but yeah, I think it also helped me kind of in that decision making process of like, is this something I really want? And I, yeah, I don't know. I thought I did it for a long time, but I'm starting to realize that it's not exactly my dream life, and that's okay.
I think the NEP will do that to a lot of people
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
because
because you grow up fast there.
oh yeah,
I do think there's been a big improvement in the last couple of years with how
for
they run
sure.
it and having Dave Preston in there and having all these kids in high school come together at the same time. They're working in their school and training at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, because we were kind of the last, or I was the last one before NEP turned into NEP,
yeah.
and Jess was the first of the underagers.
Yeah,
So
that
that
was
was
crazy. Like, Ook, how about like there's for sure out there, I don't know if they're listening to our podcast, but there are for sure some like 15, 16-year-old club volleyball players out there that are just really wondering if this is something that they want to pursue. And I know that you thought that was something that you wanted to pursue until other opportunities presented itself. But what would you say to those athletes that are really struggling with figuring out what they want to do and what they want to follow?
Mm. I feel like if you're that young and you're struggling with it, it's obviously not for you. Like you need to kind of expand your options, I think. Like it's if you're not having fun at 15, 16, which is literally the only thing that club volleyball is about is just having fun and playing with your friends or making new friends, then I think that yeah, maybe it's not for you. But I will say this is that even though I'm at a point in my life where volleyball isn't my number one priority, it is still something that I appreciate doing. And I appreciate going to the gym and I appreciate seeing my friends and I appreciate the opportunity to compete every day in practice. And it's hard right now. And it might be hard for them too, because maybe they aren't getting the playing time they want or they aren't traveling. Like I'm redshirting right now, and I think it's extremely important to look at I don't know what you'd call them, but the base layer of why you're there. And I think those like the values that you get from playing sports and the friendships and the relationships, and I think that's always been my main motivator. It didn't matter what I was doing. If I was making those, I would have played hockey or I would have played baseball, but volleyball was just the path I chose to make those connections.
Awesome.
That was really well said.
I believe that on everyone's journey, they become an expert or close to an expert in something. Maybe it's not knowledge, maybe it's a character trait or something in their personality. But what do you think you were an expert in?
Oh, dude, that's hard. I feel like I'm an expert in explaining my, I don't know.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, dude, when people come to me and they're asking me about like, it's usually about like what what do you do when you're not loving it? Or like, so I think I'm an expert in finding other things to make me still find joy in volleyball. And like when guys have issues on court and they're just like, I'm so mad at volleyball right now. It's like, but you go home and watch 3 hours of volumetrics and you're just over analyzing and all you can think about and all you can talk about is volleyball. Like, I think I'm an expert in showing people that there's more to life than volleyball.
Maybe
It's,
no, yeah, for sure. I think a way to summarize it is that you're an expert in detachment.
sure, yeah. Detachment. Yeah, I like
That's a
that.
good one because a lot of the big names we've had on the podcast have mentioned that that's incredibly important
Yeah.
to each of them in different ways, but they've all mentioned that they need something outside of the game.
Yeah. So I
I
think that
think,
that's,
Uga, I think it's really powerful that what you had to say today and that you said that, because I think a lot of the guests that we've had on have been super, super high level, high performance athletes that have achieved incredible things, but it's not for everyone. And it's not easy and it's not always enjoyable. And there are for sure more enjoyable things out there depending on what you appreciate. And I think it takes a lot of honesty and humility to talk about what you talked about today. And I think that's really cool because
hmm,
you're the walking epitome of doing what you do and doing it because you want to do it and not because someone else wants you to do it or someone else doesn't want you to do it. And
yeah.
I think it's really cool. So thanks for sharing today. That was really cool.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no problem. See you never.
Yeah.
Was gonna be here no matter what, but
Alrighty, Oog.
yeah, dude, that was fun.
Do the man, bro. I think that wraps up episode number 26 of the Pit to Pro podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. Signing off.